Hey guys, Rinji here, once again bringing you the worst out of the VTuber community. Over the past few years on my channel, I covered many special individuals, many unusual individuals. Some of them were what I would call them super VTuber fans. And with those fans, there's usually one word that's very prominent, especially within the VTubing scene. And that's the word parasocial. For those in my audience that don't know, but probably most of you do know, parasocial or parasocialism is an unhealthy attachment of a subject to a person that doesn't know that they exist. In the modern society, that's usually as when a person, a fan, is attached in some emotional way to a media personality. So in our case here, it's going to be a VTuber fan attached to their favorite VTuber. And over the years, I was saying I covered many such individuals, and their stories vary, but there's one thing in common in all of them, and that is extreme obsession, extreme unhealthy obsession, because very few obsessions are of the healthy variety. And today is one such story, as one particular super fan of the VTuber Amanogawa Shiina from the company, from the agency, from the VTuber agency Face Connect, had a certain message to share with Shiina and the rest of the fandom, but mostly with Shiina. A guy by the name of Griffon Taku on Twitter, currently X, wrote this post while linking to a Rinji blog post. One last letter to her. One last time posting a commission on here. One last goodbye. See ya. But before we get to that, Griffon Taku's Twitter account is nothing special in regards to VTuber fans. It's not a very old account. It's been made in, I believe, January of 2024. And it's mainly used to comment on Amanogawa Shiina's Twitter posts, which is quite normal. And those comments aren't anything special either. It's usually encouraging messages, commenting on recent happenings that deal with not only Shiina's streams, but also how she conducts herself on social media. So nothing unusual there. But however, the Rinji blog post is something else. And we're gonna read through all of that. And after that, we'll see how this stacks up some of the worst cases of parasocialism I've seen so far and that I've covered. So without further ado, let's get right into that. Foreclosure by a nodebody. Hey Shiina, I'm writing this for my own selfish reasons. If you don't want to read it for whatever reasons, it's okay. I don't actually expect you to read it, so I expect mods are going to read this to check it first. Edit. They did and decided not to send it to you for very understandable reasons. As we're gonna be reading through that, you'll soon understand why they decided not to do it and why he decided to use this sort of method in order to get his message out. But let's continue reading, because this post is very long. Well, how do I start this? Maybe by saying this won't be a 100-page schizo manifest or something. I'm too far away to be one of those. At least, in my eyes, I am. This is gonna be a convoluted mess to read because this is my first and my last time doing this. But let's begin anyways. The last few weeks, ever since I came back from my absence, have been a weird roller coaster about what I should do about my feelings with you. Not so much of a roller coaster, but more of an observation of my own behavior and which road to take from now on. And that road has to be without you. But not just you, without any of your company mates as well. This is going to be like the weeks before when I was absent, but you won't be noticing it that much anyway. Since I haven't been that much of a presence at all, it won't be that noticeable. But that's what this letter is about. But that's normal. I'm just another fan, nothing more, nothing less. Ultimately, I've used you for my own selfish reasons, which made me do very stupid things, like falling for you, becoming a bit more outgoing for you, mustering up the courage to join a huge community for you, getting the highest tier membership for you, watching every stream, no matter if I have to watch the VOD or catch it live on Twitch on unholy hours, or letting it run during the night shift, while listening to it on a secret channel for you. Replying to every tweet and streams to help you with the engagement stuff, no matter how inane my comments were for you. Making songs and remixes that will never see the light of day because of my ADHD gets in the way of finishing things for you. Making clips of your cutest moments to help you grow, and then giving up because more and more people started clipping you and I felt superfluous for you. Commissioning art and then getting too addicted to it and then getting a 1000k loan. 10,000k loan, sorry. Because of wanting to cheer you up with cute art when you cried out of desperation because of your back then unknown condition for you. Buying all of your merch along with free dakis and even a lot of these bee plushies to make you happy whenever I take a picture of them for you. But all of that wasn't for you, it was for me in the end. Why? That's a good question, but I know why. Because depression still has me by its claws. I still long to be someone. When I start watching you, so VTuber didn't seem like anything special. But her chat and viewer interaction seemed really high, so what if I become that guy? That guy who replies to all of her tweets and comments on all of her VODs. That guy who owns all of her merch and watches all of her streams. That guy who seems like a hardcore fan of hers. Not a nobody, but somebody. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but when I started watching you, I was nobody. Someone who barely interacted with you while trying to hide because he felt not being worth a single damn in this world. No one really important because he doesn't have anything to care for. Why should someone care for him anyway? But seeing more and more of this seemingly gentle person on the screen made him want to become someone for her. Watching your growth has been quite right. Seeing you in the Discord arguing with other members and on other streams back when it wasn't a fun sight to see. Could tell you were agitated by something every time you got on stream. For many this was a reason to leave. But I stayed. Not sure if it's a sunk cost fallacy kind of thing, but I've always been dumb like that. Not knowing when to leave and that kind of thing. Being a dumb loyal dog, some might say. Then the baking stream happened. I was oblivious to most things, but I honestly didn't see why most of the things you addressed back then were brought up. The taking the stream seriously point also confused me because that made the previous points invalid in my opinion. I didn't feel called out by any of those points, so I am in the clear. I thought. But you felt a bit better after that stream, so I have less to complain about. You being away for a month on Banana Mango Island was like therapy for you. I still remember changing my name back then from Nobody to Takuo. You felt more free in your choices, so it wasn't tough to watch you anymore. I felt like this person I can finally call my Oshi after seeing you more carefree on stream. I've had many favorites back then, but I've never called some VTuber my Oshi, because it felt like a huge commitment. And having huge commitment issues, it wasn't an easy hurdle to jump, but you've proven yourself worthy of being called my Oshi by someone. That was the point. I wanted to support you more than ever, because you seemed more than worth it. If I knew how bad last year would take a toll on me, I still would have laid low. The crab hoodie. The year sparked my creative for some reason. I also got more active in the community itself, participated in group projects such as, but it was draining. Draining because I've never talked with so many different people before while creating something with and for them. It also was amazing, honestly. I gave up on creating new stuff years prior to discovering you because of depression, but being around many creators, it also forced me to do something again, but in a good way. Feeling good when finishing things while others praised you. Felt good, and I wanted to keep doing that, but my creativity was very limited. That's where watching your streams helped me even for a bit. You were a huge source of inspiration that time. I'm still amazed by some of your stream ideas, how you pulled them off. You really are made for this streaming business. It's been over a year since I've made a short clip of you being a bundle of joy, singing your Kani song, because reformatting your PC worked wonders. It still gets posted to this day, and I think that's a good legacy to leave. I've created 166 short clips varying from 1 second to 22, but really low effort ones. 8 actual clips, 6 work in progress ones they've never get finished. 4 videos plus 3 Doro ones. 4 songs plus 23 work in progress remix ones that ones won't see to be finished. This whole time, at some point, I wasn't creating my own sake anymore. It was to get your attention, and that wasn't good. Not good for my health and mental, and that was also one of the reasons I stopped. But I got toxic brainwars in the meantime, which also prevented me from creating stuff. That's where my commissions came into play. They became my addiction after being burnt out from creating a few clips. It was somehow a good way to cope with stuff, but it drained my money resources for quite a bit. Since I had no artistic drawing skills, this was also a good way to put out the ideas I had for your draw stuff. Your breakdown in August during karaoke that didn't go well made me feel powerless. And I didn't know how else to cheer you up but with a cute art. So I did something unreasonable and took a 10k loan and commissioned a lot of art. Lots of cute and cool art, but also lots of not safe for work art. There's still 3 not safe for work animations in the works, but to this day, from the 10k loan, but it's all used up now. Jesus Christ. Sorry for the interjection, but really, it's truly something. Let's continue. The regret when my parents and I got housing troubles was intense, but I immediately felt bad because I promised to be there next Ofka, even though I live here in Europe. I had to take another huge loan just to let us stay where we are, and no more savings. All of it gone. Now I'm dead and have to keep working a job I never wanted to pay it off for several more years. It's gonna be rough, but we will make it through. But no Ofkai, no more cheering you on from the first row, which still brings my mood down whenever Ofkai gets mentioned, but it is how it do be. The more I think about your last birthday being disrupted by 631's letter, the more I share his feelings over and over with the time. It might be different, it might be almost exact feelings, but in the end I wanted to have your attention. I still do. But maybe that's why I'm writing this letter to you, but that's impossible. Impossible how I am, impossible with who I am. The time I spent away from you opened my eyes, even for a bit. I haven't gotten any better at all ever since I met you. I'm still depressed and I was just using you as someone to hold on to. Someone who cares a lot. I'd like to say I'm sorry with all of my heart, but some parts of me are not. I just wish I had cared for you more in the end. And cared more about myself, but that's why I'm living for good now. To take care about myself. These days without you were hell. Couldn't bring myself to put away your daki, so I slept on the floor because I felt I didn't deserve your presence. I also got really angry at you for a reason, blaming you for how I am and such. But I calmed down, knowing it's me who chose you and not the other way around. And then I got sad because it wasn't the other way around. I had a brief moment of madness where I just wanted to throw away all of the bees and burn them all. But I collected myself as soon as I held up the plastic bag. They will get gifted to my near kindergarten instead. They'll probably have it way better than here with me. My daily routine will have to be without you from now on. It's going to be hard because there's still merch of you on the way, and all of the merch that already is standing around in my room, But it is what it is. I will have to learn not to hug your daki before work and arriving from work, to learn not to keep that keychain with me at all times. To learn to not take pictures with the keychain when I see nature's beauty outside. To learn not to drink tea anymore while watching your streams at home. There's more I'm forgetting because it was a routine after all. I'll try my best to be more normal. Maybe also the reason why I'm leaving is because of the influx of new people and you paying more attention to them instead of me. Tired of being jealous and envying them, but I also envy other older cookies that got more attention than me. Cookies here being the name of Shiina's fandom, for those that don't know. Being there for so long does not give me a pass for long to speak with you more. I really wish I could have spoken with you more. But you know, and this why understand why I ignored and overlooked so much. Because I am too normal. Okay. Because I am not interesting. Because I am not an artist. Because I am not American. Because I am too slow at chatting. Because I am not a clipper. Because I am not a whore. Because I am not gay. Because I am not new anymore. Because I don't talk too much. Because I don't have any friends. Because I am me. Because I still think I am nobody. And because of that, I will leave to make myself somewhere anew and keep looking to somewhere that belongs to me instead of trying to belong somewhere I currently don't. I can't change who or how I am, but I can change my surroundings to make me feel different. I can't change who I am or can change my surroundings to make me feel different. In the end, it's my fault for being weak to affection. None of this is your fault or anyone else's. It's my fault alone. Do not blame your own self for my misgivings. You were as much as a victim as I was of my own actions, and for that I apologize. Thank you for humoring little old me for a while. I was happy even though I was never good at expressing it. It was nice pretending you were the one and only in my life for a year or two. It's not a lot, but it's an experience to learn from. You saying that you're done with crying about people leaving gave me a push. As if you were giving me the okay to leave. It made me happy that you've grown a lot, and now it's my time to do the same. Maybe I'll see you sometime again, maybe not. But in the meantime, I wish you and your company good luck. See you, Shiina. And for those who aren't Shiina and reading this, please let this be a lesson to you and don't get too addicted to a relationship that you won't ever have. Keep looking for that someone. Even if Shiina seems perfect, she can never ever replicate the feelings you have for her. Shiina isn't available 24/7. She won't reply to you personally at 3 AM when you message her about something that went wrong on your day. Friends and family do, and these are the closest people you will ever meet, unlike Shiina. I hope you will forget me, as he ends his blog post with a poem. The moon begins to shine before I get a chance to say any word that I left you behind. The cold breeze that was warm once before will fade before it reaches your face. I wish that you could have seen a tiny bit of my lines every time I came around. I was never worth any spark. Afraid to ask if I should have stayed, my colors already started to change. Now that the day never shone as much, years passed by while some things stayed the same. You'll never know which kind of way I went. While we may never meet again, I hope you will forget me. When a darker night arrives, your light will keep on shining. And without me, they shine more bright. My feelings never reached. For eyes that never looked at me, I am no longer here. Hope you forget to think about my last goodbye. Doesn't matter where I am, you'll never look through the night. Another shape that leads where stars go die. Made it easier to lose my path. Here I still always out of sight. No line to find dissolving the rest of my signs. You'll never catch my light even from afar, even if it's a supernova. No matter if it's too blurred, I will carry on alone. No bond that ever occurred makes it easy to be on my own. Getting further every day, you feel so ever far away, but I won't stay. I know you'll forget me. When the darker nights arrive, the light will keep on shining. And without me, they shine more bright. My feelings, they never reached. My part was never meant to be. I am no longer here. Ending with, please forget about me, Shiina. And you'd be expecting that Shiina herself wouldn't be noticing this, because this is a lot, and I do have to say it's a lot to take in. It's a huge story. It's a huge personal confession. It's letting out all of your feelings that were being built up and got pent up over the years in a post that may seem, and probably is to a lot of people, sounding very insane. But surprisingly, to my surprise as well, as a Shiina fan, she did actually reply to this post. Well, not directly, but she did address it in a very indirect, direct sort of way. So let's read it. The cookie who needs to say goodbye. I know what it feels like to be not enough. I think with what I do, it's impossible not to know. I think it's not that you were not enough to me, but that you don't think you are enough to yourself. You can be a hobo with a phone and I will still read your chats. It was an honor to be your Oshi while you needed me, and I support you now that it's time for you to move on. I agree your family is very important, should be absolutely be more important than me. I am sorry that you felt cornered into a bad place. Remember one of the first rules of being a butter cookie. Hanging out with me and the community is supposed to be fun, and if you're no longer having any fun, it's time to go. As much as I always remember all the names in my chat, you have to put yourself first. The flock has grown large and will grow larger. Maybe you found your stop on this train ride. That is okay. I'm sorry I can't forget that you are leaving with many regrets, but I am proud of you for taking care of yourself. I will always be. Live well, little cookie. And that's the end of the story for now. And I do have to say that it's very similar to a lot of the parasocial profile streams that I did. It usually deals with an individual that gets an unhealthy attachment to a VTuber, and they end up in an obsessive spiral. First, it's trying to contact the VTuber in all ways possible, using every possible avenue, trying to get their attention at every single step during streams, on social media, what have you. And then it devolves into more extreme cases of starting to spend too much time thinking about that individual, ultimately ending with spending incredible amounts of money on them in order to get noticed. And as we've seen from this case, as we've read this pretty heart-wrenching document, I'd have to say, spending 10k as a loan just for Fanart, for a VTuber, just to get noticed, it is quite insane, especially as the individual himself stated. They put their whole family in financial strifes. So at this point, it's not just your life being affected, but your whole immediate families. And at that point, you already reached a pretty big, you're pretty close to the Earth's core. Of course, there's still worse things that you could have done. I'm lucky that you haven't done them. But you were very close at reaching that point of no return. Judging, well, by my judgment at least, from this whole document, you realize that you had a problem a little bit too late, I have to say. But you at least realize that it is a problem. And hopefully you started working at it. Because you have to understand, anyone in my audience, in anyone's audience, when it comes to online content creators, you have to understand that the people that you're watching are just entertainers for the most part. They are not your friends, they aren't your immediate friends. Usually you have limited ways to contacting them. And even when you do, remember, you're just an acquaintance to them for the most part. And that's your relationship. thinking that you are more than that just because you find the individual friendly, relatable to you in many ways, and to the point where they start feeling like your friends, you have to still take a step back, evaluate what's happening to you, and just stop. This is all entertainment. And when it becomes more than that, you really need to reevaluate what's happening to you and what's happening around you to just find a solution to get out of it. Otherwise, stories like this will just repeat themselves. And I'm sure they will keep repeating themselves because this is VTubing, this is online content creation where people have almost immediate access to their favorite content creators, and they're usually there for you, quote unquote, almost every single day. You feel that they are easily accessible where they are not, and you grow attached to them every single day. I understand such feelings, but still, you always have to understand that this is all just for fun and just for entertainment. Whether you guys think Shiina replying to this was a mistake or not, I'll just leave it up to the discussion in the comments. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it myself. On one hand, I feel that may just incentivize other individuals similar to this one to do something similar and, you know, just cause problems. But then again, the way Shiina wrote this out, the way she handled it, I think it's pretty measured and reasonable, as it usually is from coming from her. However, it's still quite a lot to take in. And I can imagine reading something like that doesn't feel good, especially if you're someone like Shiina that has a very close connection to her fandom. She usually does her best to remember most of the names of the chatters, especially the regular ones, during her streams. So something like that has to affect her on a deeper level. And before you write something like that, again, any anonymous potential parasocial fan of Shiina's, just think to yourself a bit. How would Shiina feel if she had to read something like that? But again, that's an evaluation you'll have to have on your own, and a bit of introspection, you might say. But for right now, that's everything. I hope to see you on the next one.